Australia's trade minister is seeking a meeting with France to try to ease tensions after Canberra scrapped a $40 billion submarine deal. Australia ended the deal with France to build a fleet of conventional submarines. Instead, it opted for nuclear-powered ones using US and British technology as part of the AUKUS defence partnership. France says the move has put its relationship with Australia in crisis mode. It has recalled its ambassadors from Australia and the US in response. Lucy Hoff joins us live from Brussels for more on this. Lucy, EU ministers will be discussing the fallout from this deal in New York today.
That's right, Steve. This is the first time that they've had the opportunity to discuss the crisis in person. Since the AUKUS alliance was announced last week, we understand that there will be a meeting of EU foreign ministers in New York later on today, on Monday, but also on Tuesday morning as well. And we are expecting to hear from the EU's top envoy, Josep Borrell, tomorrow at a press point following those talks. We understand from the European Commission, speaking earlier on today, that there will be discussions not just about the implications on the French-Australia relationship, but also the wider implications for the European Union of the AUKUS alliance, both in terms of the bloc's defence strategy, those calls for the EU to develop its own strategic autonomy, its own defence capabilities, and reduce its reliance on the United States, as well as, of course, the implications for its Indo-Pacific strategy, which was slightly awkwardly announced just a few hours after the AUKUS alliance was unveiled between the US, the UK and Australia. So lots to discuss, and of course some more detail about what exactly those talks produce by Tuesday.
At the same time, Joe Biden has asked for talks with Emmanuel Macron as well. What will appease France at this point?
Well, I mean, France has made its fury very, very clear. At the moment, what France is saying it wants above anything is clarity. It wants answers on how exactly this pact came to be formed and yet was so concealed from the French, with that abandonment of a hugely lucrative and significant deal that was signed in 2016 between Canberra and Paris. So France will be looking for explanations from Joe Biden, a sense of whether or not the two sides will be able to cooperate in the Indo-Pacific region. But of course, France is on its way to an election year. French President Emmanuel Macron is concerned about appearing to take tough action. And the language from France has been very, very strong. This has been described as a betrayal, as a stab in the back. There's even been some suggestion that EU-Australia trade talks could now be on the rocks as a result of this action from the United States, Australia and the UK, with France saying that it was unthinkable that the EU would continue with those negotiations to try to sign off a free trade deal with Australia by the end of this year. So there will be lots to discuss, but a feeling that, given, of course, the expulsion of the US ambassador, that relations between Washington and Paris are really at an extremely low ebb.
Anyway, thanks for that. Lucy Hoff speaking to us from Brussels.